today I'm going to capture some yeast. I will do my best to capture some wild yeast. I mean, wild yeast, it's everywhere. But I need to, here, see, look. Mosquitoes, man. But take a look at it under a microscope. Stupid mosquitoes. Man, insane. But really, so much mosquitoes here. See? Eaten alive. This year is the year of the mosquitoes here in Sweden. It's crazy. I'm being eaten while I'm standing here outside. Wow. Oh man, you have to see my legs. Oh, I'm going to put the camera here. Wait. See that? It's insane. I've never seen this before. If I had shorts right now, I would be eaten alive. Insane. I've never seen so many mosquitoes. I have at least 40 mosquitoes now on me. Okay, I found my shelter. I found shelter inside the house. It has been a really wet summer. If you look outside, everything is green. It's beautiful, but with that beauty comes a beast. So if you're standing outside at the wrong time in the wrong place, you are going to get it. Mosquitoes galore. But what I wanted to say is I did a little experiment, and you know, with every experiment, failure is always an option. So I don't know if I will succeed, but anyway, I tried to capture some wild yeast. I don't know if you're familiar with Lambic beers. Lambic beers, brewed in Belgium for hundreds of years. These are also known as spontaneous fermented beers. So what you do, instead of adding a cultivated yeast, you expose it to the elements, and you let wild yeast and bacteria inoculate your wort. Suddenly it's like, oh hey, start fermenting spontaneously. I could do that with my first beer that I brew from scratch. I could just put it in a fermentation bucket and place it outside overnight. See what happens. But I don't think I want to take the risk, because you don't know what the outcome is. You know, I don't know what's growing outside in my garden. It could be a yeast that creates wonderful flavors, but it could also be a lot of bacteria. I filled up some jars with wort and these yeast vials. In these yeast vials I added some flowers, skin of fruits that I found in the nature, some herbs. If I get something growing, I will put it on the plate, see if we can isolate a string, and then cultivate that one string. Again, that's going to be quite a project as well, but a fun project. Of course, when you have fermentation going on in a closed container, you should be careful. If it really starts to ferment, of course, you're building up pressure. So I'm not sure if I'm going to put a balloon on top, or if I just every now and then, here a little, psst. Oh. There's also these berries. Maybe I should put a balloon on it already. I hear a little sis, and yeah, there might already be some activity in these, which is really fun. Well, of course, this smells beautiful, really nice already. The first thing that I did was make a little stand for my vials. Of course, that's not really necessary, but I thought it was funny, and it's actually quite handy. Later I cut a window in it to see the vials, but and then the whole thing collapsed. And then I cut some pieces of a hop bag to cover the jars with, because, well, we want to capture some yeast and not fruit flies. Then I mixed some DMA with water. I brought it to a boil. I did not add any hops. I thought that lowering the pH should be enough to ward off any unwanted bacteria. We will see if this works. If not, I will just do it again and add some hops. According to the strips, the pH had dropped to around 4.5. Then I sanitized my test tubes in a little bit of boiling water. I know that plastic and boiling water don't really go together. You might dissolve the softeners in the plastic, but we're just going to capture some yeast in it. We're not going to consume the wort, so I'm not really too concerned about it. And then I filled up the jars with the wort and I put it back on the stove. I heated it all up again. I cooled down some wort for the test tubes. And yes, I did burn my fingers there a little bit. And then well, I covered the jars with the hot bag, so they're ready to put outside. Ideally you want to do this, of course, at the end of the day, and then you just put the hot wort outside overnight. In this case I did it during the day. Hopefully well, it doesn't really matter that much. And then I filled my tubes with the cool down wort. I marked the test tubes as well. Put a little number just in case I won't be able to recognize what I put in there. And then I went out into the garden and picked some material what I thought would be a good candidate to host some yeast. So the first thing I did was pick some dandelions and well, I just filled up my test tubes. I even sanitized my little scissors there, by the way. And then I went over to the herb garden and I picked some tarragon to put in my tube. Some herbs are a little bit antibacterial, like sage. So I'm not sure if I will find any yeast on these ones. But hey, we will see. And of course I had to pick some blueberries. It's Sweden, it's full with blueberries. With so much sugar I expect these ones to show some activity quite soon. And then I continued my journey and I picked some fruit from the garden. I first had some pear and then I have these old, I think it's an old pear variety. Small little fruit, but I skinned it and I put it in a vial as well. The apple tree that we have, it was not a year for apples, but I managed to pick some. And yeah, skinned it and put it in a little vial. A lot of mosquitoes, like I said, so I managed to put it in the vial without any mosquitoes. And then the jars, well, at night, at the end of the day, I put them near my fruit trees. One I put on the table, and then the next day I pick them up. So now we wait, and we wait for some activity. Of course, these vials, I expect to see some activity much sooner, because we added quite some material. With these jars, it's probably going to be much more slowly. But what I'm hoping to see at some point is a pellicle. A pellicle, it's like a skin, it's a layer on top of the liquid. It's something that this wild yeast creates. Nobody really knows why. One explanation is that it's trying to protect all the good stuff from any intruders. So it's going to create a layer so they can keep it all the good stuff to themselves. I buy it. It's a good explanation. I will keep you up to date and I see you next time. Mosquitoes.